So, on this video, I want to talk about working, the underpaid, the exhaustion. You know, some of us are working 60 hours a week just to pay the bills. Some of us are working part-time jobs. I've ran into
I was considering walking to the base of the mountain, but just felt a raindrop. So I'm thinking about turning around. It's like 1/3 of the way through my walk. And there's no shelter going that way if it starts raining. But nevertheless, I want to talk to you about a subject that I have spoken about this subject before, previous videos. And I don't know, I hope that you look at the thing seriously. When I present something, I hope that it's looked at seriously, and you say, well, I know that already, that's not correct, or yes, you know, something that simulates some kind of action, thought. You know, everyone that listens to my videos learn something, but we all learn at different rates. You know, things that I paid attention to when I was 5 years old were like animals and birds, trees, playing, toys, you know. At 20 years old, military service, I had to be paying attention to what I learned to survive. 30 years old, pay attention to what my then wife and kid, my wife and son needed. But as time passed by, it seemed like one day, suddenly all of those things just came into focus. And I began to see all the things that I learned in the past in the context of the whole planet and the people. So we all learn, you know, and it takes steps. You build on what you learn. But I was watching a video came up on my feed. I guess YouTube decided to send me something. And it was about this lady. As a matter of fact, you know, the video is called, the title of the video is 50 overworked, underpaid. You've heard those words before. 50, overworked, underpaid. I am tired. The lady describes how she felt. And there's a smile on my face saying, well, I talked to the people who listen to my videos about this before, and I hope that they are not feeling like this. Because when you begin to feel like this, you can tell. If you're listening to my videos, instead of when it just come on you like an illness, and people don't pay attention to the initial stage of illnesses. Like if you get sick, you know, you'll feel uncomfortable. You get an uncomfortable feeling. Like if you're gonna get a cold, you begin to feel your itching, or your nose, or fingers, or your hands itching. Your stomach begins to feel. No, I don't have this feeling in my stomach before. And if you don't pay attention to it and check it out, 3-4 days later, you're down. And that's when you pause, when you feel that initial sensation, you pause and act on it so that 3 or 4 days later it's not there. But the problem we face today is that how she's described, what she's describing didn't just begin. It began a long time ago. Many, many years ago. But she just didn't pay attention to it. And today, it is like an illness. But she still doesn't see that it's an illness. She doesn't see it as an illness. Because through the years, she's growing up in a household where her parents didn't teach her how to survive as a community, a family. They taught her how to live. Listen, I didn't say survive. They taught her how to live. Well, I got it backwards, actually. They didn't teach her how to live as a community. But they taught her how to survive as an individual. They probably sent her to school, make sure she has the necessary things to, you know, clothes, books. In today's world, most kids, I mean, at my kids' school, I used to have to provide some of the materials that they used because parents, they knew they had to send it and they didn't. The kid came to school in Jordans, but he didn't have pens and pencils and no paper towels to wipe his hand when he goes to eat lunch and wash his hand. Completely, I mean, anyway, their parents taught her how to survive. And survival is part of living, but you're just getting along. You're fighting against everything. It's like survival school in the military is when you are up against everything that the earth is throwing at you. And even the enemy might be following you and you're trying to escape the enemy. That's survival. Your heart is pounding because you're thinking, I'm going to get caught any moment. I'm in enemy territory and I'm in this heightened state. They didn't teach her how to survive they teach her to survive instead of live. And when you're living, you got family around you. There's certain things that your grandparents, if you live with your grandparents, will see you doing. I can look at my son or daughter and say, hey, you don't look right, before they even notice it. You know, just by when they wake up, the way the face looks, it doesn't look fresh, it looks tired. And then there's normally a kid is always moving, running, is talking, is getting into trouble. And when you see it slowing down, you know something is wrong. So as a grandparent, you know those things. As a parent, your child comes to you and talks to you, I'm hungry. So you see certain things there. And then when you're a son or a daughter, you can also notice when your parents are tired. And all these are shared, you know. You learn all this when you have a family and a community around you. But when it's just mother and you, mother has to work. Guess what? Don't have that time to pay attention to the things that affect you. And that's the world she grew up in. Survival, not living. Now at 50, she's just too tired. And some people will tell you, well, you need a friend to talk to. Yeah, but your friend is in that same position because you both grew up in the same atmosphere. Not the same house, the same atmosphere. And it started when, as a child, the parent who learned the saying, God bless the child that has its own, they teach their children. And I heard men say, I gotta teach my daughter how to survive on her own because she can't depend on a man. Why did you teach your daughter that? Because you didn't teach your son that somebody else's daughter needs to be taken care of the way that he's supposed to do it. And your daughter has to survive because you didn't teach her that family is important. So in the back of their minds, they're always thinking, God bless the child that has its own. And if you see what's going on in the planet today, it's just that. If you talk to a man, the man today, the man says, I don't need a woman. That woman's going to take everything I have, and that's all she wants to do. And the woman's going to say, that man's going to treat me bad, so I got to have my own. I don't need a man. And the two of you are living in a world where the plan is against both of you. The people who came up with that plan trapped you. And if you look at all of them, they're all married with families. The people who are the leaders in government, in the Supreme Court, in all the think tanks, all the things that we've been talking about before, that the organizations that you look at all of them. Name me a president in the United States the last 100 years that when he stand up to be president, he says, "Oh, you're a single man." Nope, we're not electing you. Supreme Court Justice. When they're interviewing him, his wife is in the background. The people who are in the organization that drive the policies in America, they have to be married and have a family. It is expected of them. But black people, they train you. Well, this came from slavery, really. It came from slavery. The woman, black woman, never belonged to the black man from the time we left Africa. First thing the Caucasian man did, the white man, you call him, is that he made sure you knew that the black woman belonged to him. And he came down to the whatever little hut he used to live in and took her at night. You have to get out of the bedroom or whatever, the two of you sleeping together. The black man had to leave. White man came in. When he left, black man came back. Then they came up with the thing, God bless the child to have his own after slavery. So now you're still divided. And this thing about being on my own and controlling my own destiny is the biggest lie. If you see the planet and how the system works, you look at history and see that all the countries that think that they can go it on their own, guess what they've been doing? Look at what happened to Iraq, Libya. They all got, the governments got overthrown, leaders murdered, because they convinced them that they can do it on their own. Individual country. Guess what the world looks like? You got China, Russia, and other countries joining together in this thing that called BRICS Plus. And there's a war to keep them from joining together. As an individual, strong and independent, they're looking at you and laughing and say, we got him where we want. The day she get ill with nobody in the house, what will happen? Falls down and can't get to her cell phone, what's going to happen? There's some places where you get sick, the employer will call the ambulance for you. You go to the hospital, nobody from your work will ever call and say, how you doing? That's where community comes in. Your family, husband, wife, whatever. You are trapped. And if those of you who've been paying attention to what I've been saying, you will see that the worst things that we can imagine are coming to pass. What they call a black swan is that the American dollar is being challenged. The European common market has been destroyed. There's war. 2027, America is planning on having a war with China. And it's like right there in your face. They're telling you, we're going to do it. What are you as an individual going to do? You work alone, you live alone. When the supermarkets don't have food in them, and gangs are walking the street and breaking into your houses, What are you alone going to do in your house when people show up to take the food that you have? Please go look at that video. Because this lady is thinking it's just me. She don't have solutions to her problem. Well, the solutions that are there, she's not interested in, because she thinks she thinks God bless the child that have his own. Have a great day wherever you are. Peace.